they're using shock value. They're using the ripping the Band-Aid method to convince you. So that way they can gaslight you into saying it, so then they can finally believe it. That's what I honestly think a lot of this is that if they get enough people to yes man them, then they can finally feel good about themselves.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Body Honesty Project. My name is Lydia, and today we are collaborating with not one, not two, but 3 other tubers. Because we got together to play a game together. And that game is a separate video, which you also should watch. But we had a lot of interesting sidebar discussions on things like Tess Holliday, the dangers of plus-size travel, our haters, and why we shouldn't be comparing obese people to whales. So I took all those sidebar conversations and made this video, because although they didn't really fit into my game video, they are discussions that I think should be shared. So, on with the discussion.
For the world to say that all I'm doing is sitting around and eat when I'm starving was horrible, because anybody, any size can starve, and we are just conditioned to not care about folks in larger bodies, to just toss us away like we don't belong, like we don't matter, and it's exhausting.
It's delusion that Tess does that. I mean, I can't believe that it's even allowed. Like, I can't believe that, like, we've reached a stage where this woman can state these things and be okay. She's such a horrible human being.
And that the science community doesn't really come out against her in a more harsh way, but instead we have a lot of people being like, you know what? That's probably right. Let's get her on Good Morning America. Let's get this woman's message out there.
The woman said it in front of the UN.
Yeah. But I think there's also the fact that a lot of people, a lot of people think that what she says is, of course, not right and not true. But there's also the fact that many of them have the fear of being canceled for their opinion. So people now are afraid to have an opinion, to say what they think, because they think, oh, I'm going to offend this person if I say this thing. But so we as a society are not expected to walk on eggshell around, like we have to tiptoe around people's feelings. But some people, while we tiptoe around their feelings, they can tap dance around ours, and that will be fine. Like, don't you see the hypocrisy on that? And the same people they're the same one who push free speech, but free speech only when it applies to them. Absolutely. So it's mind-boggling.
It's so true, though. Like, it's exactly right. Like, we get a lot of folks that say, you've got to respect what I want. You've got to respect my feelings. You've got to do this for me. But then on the other hand, it comes right back at them. And they're like, well, I'm just going to stomp all over whatever you believe in. I'm going to mock whatever you believe in. Why? Because it's my right now. It's my time. It's my truth. It's so true. Like, it's, instead of fighting whatever oppression or issues they think they really have, what they really want to be is now the oppressors. Yes. They just want to feel that power. Yes. It's so true.
Plus-size model Tess Holliday can't believe she's made it to the cover of Cosmopolitan magazine UK. I'm literally a Cosmo girl. Can't believe I'm saying that. If I saw a body like mine on this magazine when I was a young girl, it would have changed my life, she just tweeted. Tess is getting lots of support from her fans, but the cover is also stirring some controversy from TV personality Piers Morgan. Apparently, we're supposed to view it as a huge step forward for body positivity. What a load of old baloney, he wrote on Instagram. This cover is just as dangerous and misguided as celebrating size 0 models.
We should not be glamorizing. Putting Tess Holliday on the cover. Putting Tess Holliday on the cover of Cosmo was what kicked a bunch of this shit off. Yeah. And they tried to pretend like she was not actually in a dangerous physical condition, which is that's where the societal lie starts. But wearing something that makes you feel good about yourself in the current state you're in, I think is important to a person's psyche. You know what I mean? Like people want to look as good as possible. I just think we've reached a stage in society where people look at themselves in the state they're in and like, I love this state. Like, you love it? Like, I mean, no, this is odd because to me, because I view I'm what would be considered a very athletic male. You know what I mean? And I'm very lucky. I'm genetically gifted. I've got the Adonis shape. Like I've got a very small waist. I've got big ass shoulders, and I got the trap. I mean, I'm happy with my appearance, but in my mind, I'm like, this could be a little better. I'm always looking at the stuff like I could improve upon or something like that. Like, God, my legs got thin. I got to do more squats. What the fuck, like all sorts of shit like that. Right. And I'm swearing, I'm swearing Lydia's eyebrows go up when I swear.
I'm going to have to censor you, Ellen.
But she's like, I'm hearing every beep I've got to.
Yeah, like her eyebrows shoot up every time I swear. But the reality of it is that I'm always trying to improve upon myself. Do I think I look good? I think I look good, especially for my age. I look very good. I'm probably in the top 0.01% of the population for my age,
Thank you.
But the craziness about it is like, these people look at themselves at 400 pounds and be like, I love how I look. Like, you love it? I don't love how I look now. Like,
I don't believe them even.
Yeah.
I don't think they even believe what they say. Because, and this is something that I'm willing to bet every single time, if those people on TikTok who glorify obesity and push the message out there about obesity being healthy and good, like if they could shed that weight overnight, I'm willing to bet my yearly salary that they would.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Because 100%. The thing is, when they sit there and go, I'm going to radically love my body. And again, it's like, think about it. How often in high school, the guy who was always talking about bagging a billion chicks, the girl who was always talking about getting the most guys, typically they were virgins. Typically, there are people who never got a single bit. And I think it's the exact same. I think Lola's hit the nail on the head. These are people who they're using shock value. They're using the ripping the Band-Aid method to convince you. So that way they can gaslight you into saying it. So then they can finally believe it. That's what absolutely. I honestly think a lot of this is that if they get enough people to yes man them, then they can finally feel good about themselves.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That guy that got stuck in his seat and had to get removed. Yes. Like how? Yeah. What if there was an accident? Like he would be dead. Right?
Oh yeah.
What if the person would have like, okay, when people fly, it's a change in air pressure. So depending on the medications you're on, everything like that. I mean, it could. People throw embolisms all the time. Like healthy people that fly like something like one a day. There's somebody that flies once a day that throws an embolism, right?
Right. Yeah.
And when they're bigger, you're more prone to embolisms anyway. And then we have, all the craziness going on in the world with all the other stuff that is easy. Strokes are becoming like a matter. Strokes and myocardial infractions are becoming like a daily thing, even for younger people. A person in row 20 weighs 400 pounds and has bought the entire row, but they now also have a stroke. How are we getting them off the plane?
And see, as the fat person in this conversation who has flown recently, that is why I will mainly because I concern about other passengers because I've had to go for business or whatever. I've tried to primarily fly any flights that'll let me pick a seat and I'll sit towards the front. When I flew in January, I was on Southwest. I sat in the very front seat with all that legroom. They could have dragged my fat butt right off the plane if needed. Right. Because I agree. And I will say, just like seatbelts in a school bus, I find seatbelts in a plane are glorified. I don't see they have much use for anyone over a certain weight class. And that would be anyone, someone hypermuscular and very tall, someone my size, unless you really tighten it right up to the hip bones, which I watch other fat people. I watch them when they buckle their seatbelts. They put it over their stomach. That doesn't help you at all because it can slide up. You can slide out. You have to put it under your belly, right up to your hip bones. That is the only way your seatbelt's going to be effective. And if you don't do that, it's not a seatbelt.
It could be injurious.
Huh?
It could actually be injurious.
Exactly, because the thing is, so like if you get in an accident, and they even say this, there's a reason why your seatbelt can't be up here. It's got to be right here across your sternum, because if it's up here, it'll slice you. If you have it straight across your stomach, there's a lot that's happening you're not going to like. And
it lowers reaction, it lowers care time too. Like again, so a person, anybody in the 20th row has an MI, has a myocardial infarction, they're in trouble. I mean, because they can defibrillate them, but getting them off the plane is also a huge issue already, no matter if they're of normal size or not. So the time that it takes to get them onto the gurney and out into getting actual medical care is extended because of where you're at. Now picture a 400-pound person, they're dead. I mean, they're dead, and that's not fair to them either. Like, I think people misconstrue a lot of like what we do. Like, I want fat people. I've been a fat people. You know what I mean? Like, I really have. Like, and I know how dangerous it is. I think everybody sitting here does a good job in their content of trying to profess, like, try to get healthy. I mean, because like it's what's better for you. It's not a matter of like I want to see anybody die or I want to see anybody feel bad about themselves. But reality exists, and if you don't do something about your health, you're going to die early. And maybe we've gone to this stage where I said this on my live earlier today. Like, I was ashamed of myself when I was big. That bit of shame helped me change. We just want to live in a society that has no shame at all, and that's a problem. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying like the person should hate themselves. It's what we were talking about earlier. Body positivity is what Lola said. You should love yourself enough to get healthy. And that is the biggest difference.
Because I agree. Like, I jokingly say I have no shame, but I do when it comes to you should operate in a certain way. Like, you don't want to be an embarrassment to yourself. And I get, you don't want to, like you said, publicly hate your body or whatever. You have to be ashamed of your bad actions, because if you're not ashamed of them, then you don't know their bad actions. And if you don't know their bad actions, you're never going to want to change them. And to me, it's just like any other vice. Even though it wasn't technically overeating in the way it's like binging or anything. I've had to look back on my entire life. Like, the way I eat, everyone says, oh, Cassie doesn't eat a lot. Oh, Cassie never eats a lot. So we're right. I didn't eat a lot of volume. So if I haven't eaten a lot of volume, then what the hell am I doing wrong? So then I had to go back and say, okay, well, where did I screw up? And then I found out that even if I wasn't eating a lot, the way I was eating, you don't realize in a portion this big of the right food can be as much as this much food. It's why I get a kick out of when you hear Lizzo when she's like, I eat clean, I eat healthy.
Oh my God.
And yet you can see she's consuming 9,000 calories. Sure, you may be having one burrito, but the burrito's the size of your head. It's got like 4 avocados in it, a pound of rice. You're putting a lot of beans into it. So yes.
Sounds good.
Right, it sounds delicious. However, that's enough bean burrito to feed like a family of 5. And so it's just like, that's something where, like you said, Alan, they need to have some kind of shame, because you have to acknowledge what you're doing wrong in order to get to what you're doing right. And I was saying it the other day to somebody, and I did a interview with Carrie. I think the problem is a lot of people never want to address the root problem of why they have any vices, why they might be overweight, why they might not do this. That's why they claim diets fail, whatever, what have you, because they just do the Band-Aid solution, never get to the root of whatever the issue is, and then fall right back into the bad thing again. Because it's never their fault. It's always some other outside source.
Anytime I make a post about obesity,
you're skinny privileged.
You're fat phobic.
you encourage disordered eating.
Probably before all you guys even started talking about this, there was like the Fatopia movie. Have any of you guys seen that?
We are not just fat people. We are people.
I do agree that there is stigma that I have to deal with because I am fat.
Because the real elephant in the room here is fat phobia.
These are my arms. These are the arms that I have.
It's not my problem that you don't want to look at them.
Let's all gain 300 pounds and be fat.
Thinness does not grant you a better life. I do not owe you thinness.
I am fat and beautiful, and I am worth every bit of space that I take up.
But these women are dying.
America is facing a major health crisis. Britain is too fat and is getting fatter, and doing nothing is not an option.
2.7 billion adults will be overweight or obese by 2025. Researchers say it's particularly alarming in the developing world.
This country is getting fatter.
People are dying from avoidable diseases caused by obesity, such as diabetes, heart disease, and cancer.
I actually rewatched it 2 days ago.
Yeah. I talk to him. I talk to Luke every now and then. So. But holy crap, like I remember when that first came out, and it was the thing that I think rattled the beehive. You know, like they got like so mad. And then that was when they like tried to cancel us, like Crystal and I. Like it was unreal. Like, I mean, I've been through all sorts of shit with the fitness people and stuff like that before that. But oh my God, they were like hot and heavy for it. It was insane. Like people I mean, people would send messages constantly like, "You're horrible. I hope you die." And like this is like, oh my God, like, oh, it's so ridiculous. I mean, but they like it all this shit just is very nostalgic because like I think I was one of the very first people that pointed out like 6 or 7 years ago, like, hey, this is dangerous. Like, we can't actually be talking about this. Like, to be accepted, like, we should be encouraging everybody, like, love yourself enough, encourage weight loss, but to say this is awesome is just bad, you know?
But you it's funny you talked about that area, that moment. It is nostalgic indeed. And when I watched that movie again, like I said, I watched it 2 days ago, and it just brought back a lot of memories, because I remember around the same time too, that's when your account that was taken down, EDDF, that's when that account and my other account, we were interacting a lot. So when those people were coming after you, you know, they were also coming after me.
Yeah. I mean, they were calling people. That's why they made the follow-up, like the Dark Side of Fat Acceptance movie, because they were calling people's work. Like they would like my posts and they would call them at work. Like, I want to talk to your boss because you support fat phobia and racism. The racism thing is, oh, hang on, never mind. I planned on using that question. So.
Okay. No, that's the people, and that is the thing these days, because every time I've been canceled in the last 2 years, the first thing everyone tries to do, they will message my employers if they can find them. When I work for No System has messaged 3 times about firing me while I was employed with them. And recently, when I got canceled by the art community for telling them a truth they didn't like, they did try to find out my information. I've had people try to dox me. They called my father's house. So
they released our business address, which is public knowledge, but like, and the one lady was like, because I don't play, and it had my name and the address and everything like that on it. I mean, it was an old address of ours, but still, I was just like, well, you know, because my thing is like, what are you gonna do? You know, like, short of mailing a bomb to me, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna, like, I live on a huge hill, so first of all, you're gonna have a hard time getting up it. But secondly, you know, but beyond that, you know, it's like, you know, do you really think that means, like, I grew up hunting and everything like that? Like, it would be bad for you. Like, I wanted to, like, encourage people, like, it would be very bad for you to show up at my house. Really bad now, like really bad in Florida. Like, it would be really bad to show up here.
True. See, with me,
there's a stand of ground, low.
Yeah. Oh. At one point in time, when I was still talking about this, like when I was talking about it, I lived in South Carolina, out in the woods, like, and the sheriff was like, if somebody tries to break in your house, shoot him first, then call him. Like, I mean, like
that's pretty much, yep.
Well, because he's like, it's going to be an hour before I can get to you. You live in the woods, so if somebody breaks in your house, you shoot him first and then call me. You know, like. Anyway,
the one benefit I have is my road looks like the surface of Mars, but sadly I live in a much more densely populated area. So it's the same thing. It's like, why? I've had people give me end game threats and everything else simply because of a disagreement or because I told them their art was intellectually lazy.
I have a fan that keeps on telling me that I destroyed her life every time I make a video. You destroyed my life. Like I tons of comments from this one person. You destroyed me. Why do you keep destroying me? Like, I'm
How dare you?
And I'd be like, why do you keep coming back to be destroyed? Like,
right.
Oh my god! All right, so
how did you destroy their life?
Because I'm speaking the truth.
She exists.
It's so delusional. Like, it's the same thing as like people, like these people online, like, you have no right to use my video for this. So don't put it online. Like, I mean, like I've had people use. I don't even notice. Like, people make videos on me. Because I don't search.
I clip you all the time, Alan.
Yeah. Well, I don't, because the thing is, I encourage people to do so. I'm putting myself, if I wasn't putting myself online, it would be different. If you were like breaking into my iCloud account and like, hey, like here's pictures, here's videos of him with his puppy, that's a little bit crazy. That's my privacy. Right. But the shit I put online, like, I don't have the right to have people not disagree with me. It's so crazy. So
if you watch
crazy.
my videos, you're going to see your own face pop up. I clip you all the time.
I have seen, and I like that. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I think that's a smart thing to do for people, because like we need to start showing people that like it's more than just one voice, because they get very much a microcosm, but that you ruined their life by making videos.
I just got a recent comment on my Lizzo one, and they said that I wasn't allowed to use certain words because that was clearly me using casual racism. And so I came back and they said, well, I can't support your channel anymore. And I said, number one, I use those words all the time. You can't police my language. Number two, this is YouTube, not an airport. No one needs to hear your departure. She came back like, you realize you're going to get comments that disagree with you. Yeah. And when there's stupid comments, I'm going to call them out. Like, you can come to my channel and say whatever you want, but understand, I will also say whatever I want.
Yep.
You don't want to have a discourse with me? Just leave quietly. And it's just like, that's what's funny is I said, because what she was doing was like very parasocial, even though I'm obviously not big. When you sit there and you lecture someone that you don't know, that you haven't interacted with, purely because they're online and they're saying something, yeah, that's parasocial. She's like, you're not even that famous, and yet here you are.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Like, with the Lizzo stuff, it was like, well, she's famous and got more money than you. I was like, when she's nothing but a memory to her relatives, I'll still be living. So I hope she spends every dollar,
So, I'm privileged because I'm not fat? What's next? I'm privileged because I can walk.
Yes. You in fact are privileged because you're thin. And because you can walk. And apparently also privileged with the ignorance to make such comments like this.
I don't know any other place where you can be like, listen, I ate too much. I gluttoned myself for a year. Now I can't walk. Uncle Sam, pay my bills.
It's crazy, but that's how it works.
It is.
It's crazy, but that's how it works.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the other aspect of it is whenever you live in a country that has in any way shared healthcare expenditure, it's just brutal. I mean, we're at a stage right now where society, America, UK, and Canada will not be able to keep going the way they're going if people keep getting bigger. I mean, the wave of type 2 diabetes that's coming is going to be massive in America. It is just going to be, within the next 5 years, we could be looking at 80 million, 90 million people that have full-blown type 2 diabetes. Not to mention, Ozempic and Wegovy are likely going to add a good $1 trillion to our shared healthcare expenditure with how they're issuing it out. Like, it's because it's subsidized. Like, people are like, I only paid $150 for mine. No, you paid $1,500. You out of your pocket came the $150. The other $1,350 was spread amongst other people's insurance and other people's taxes. People don't understand these things, and we've reached a stage, right? And we've reached a stage where, I mean, America is $4.3 trillion every year in healthcare burden. Like 90% of that is chronic illness. That's a lot. That's when you figure out like that 90% of type 2 diabetes is avoidable, 80% of cardiovascular disease, and 70% of all like cancer and strokes are avoidable. my lifestyle. That is the willfulness in actually, not taking accountability for your own actions that lead to something like $3 trillion a year in shared healthcare expenditure. That's privilege.
Alan, there is no scientific evidence that weight and weight gain has anything to do with any of those diseases.
It's crazy.
Correlation. It's not causality, it's correlation.
Right? There's no correlation. Correlation does not equal causation. Alan, that is extremely fat phobic. You'd even believe that. Why would you have that judgment on fat people? Just because the majority of fat people suffer from all those things, don't you realize that could be a number of different factors?
We have, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it too, like especially the pharmaceutical side. Something like 60% of all Americans are on at least one pharmaceutical. That's terrifying.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Save the whale, it's not on the water.
What I love about whales, inspired by hate comments. Whales exhibit cultural and behavioral patterns similar to humans. Humpback whales defend other creatures, showing they are capable of compassion and empathy. Whales celebrate their identity. Some people call me a whale as an insult. I take it as a compliment.
We need to stop calling obese people whale or hippos or elephant or any of those big animals, because those animals are supposed to be that way. They are meant to be that way.
Such a good point.
Yeah, that is their natural state.
Hippos are 95% muscle. Like,
hippos aren't actually fat. People don't realize that.
They're like the fastest mammal, aren't they?
Right. They're the fastest mammal that runs underwater.
They are terrifying. Like terrifying. Like they kill tons of people every year because they're like literally tanks. They have less fat on them than rhinos have on. They're literally tanks.
And they're less violent than rhinos too.
Yeah. And their babies are just so cute. I can't even take it.
Pygmy hippopotamus babies have to be one of the cutest things.
They look like Shar-Peis.
They do. And there's this video.
I love Shar-Pei. So.
There's a video of this baby pygmy hippopotamus trying to bite the boot of the handler in a zoo, and it's just like gumming it, and it's just the cutest thing to watch. I love it. But no, I tell people all the time because obviously I'm the animal person. That's why I keep having the camera shake and have to dodge cats and dogs. But no, I agree with you 100%, Lola. I do think we've made too much of a habit of comparing them to these animals, because then people are like, yes, like Lexi Nimmo, she's constantly like, yes, I'm a whale and whales are big and beautiful. Okay, but yeah, the whales also dive 3,000 feet below the surface. They need the blubber to survive. You don't.
I'd like to thank Alan, Starsan, and Lola for joining me today. And if you haven't checked out the game we played, what are you waiting for? It's right here. This game has the four of us put each other on the spot for 2 minutes to say whatever we can about a given fat acceptance topic. And boy, was it a lot of fun to play. And if you like content like this, let me know who else you'd like to see on the channel. So until next time, stay body positive, but also body honest.